Mike, you lived across...
In a country, yes.
Yes, and so both of us lived in a very small town, rural area, and when we moved to Atlanta, we had lived in subdivisions, and we knew that we wanted land. We knew that we wanted our children
Yes.
to experience the lifestyle that we had growing up and really instill so many qualities in them that were instilled in us as far as a hard work ethic and more living off the land and not being so dependent on, I guess, society, right?
Yeah.
Growing our own food, raising our own animals.
Yeah, and here the kids have, man, they've just been so involved in everything we do, whether it's butchering chickens, ducks, hogs. They're around things. They see the circle of life. They see the plants grow. They put seeds in the ground, and they get to watch them. They get to watch them grow. I think this has been probably one of the most amazing places for our kids to grow. We have 6 kids, and I tell you what, I would not want to ever take that away from them. They have learned so much by growing up here.
Yes.
They have learned so much by growing up here.
Like weeding for an hour or 2 a day.
Yes.
Which they absolutely, well, they'll appreciate when they get older. But that's one of the ways that we instill in them the work ethic.
Yeah.
And we do reward them. But they see the benefits of weeding. They see what they eat. They
Yes.
love coming out in the garden and just picking the asparagus or picking a pepper. And actually our son Caleb, he loves gardening. He has the green
Right.
thumb, I think, of all the kids. And so one year he planted a habanero. He planted a ghost pepper.
Yeah.
And so when they're ready, he'll go out there and he'll try each one. And we have so much fun, him just, I guess, sampling these different peppers and catching him on video of his reactions to the hotness of the peppers.
And at first, it was, when we first started, we had just started planting raspberries, blueberries, and different things like that. And there was never enough. There was never enough raspberries for the kids to eat. And finally, we're at a point where they can eat as many raspberries as they want. They can eat as many other things as they want. But always, it's so amazing to have them see like the first cherries that come out on the cherry tree. Be able to run over there and they always try to get them before the birds do or anything like that. I mean, they are running in the morning. Oftentimes, the younger kids, they'll wake up and they'll run out to the fruit to try to get it before the other kids do. I mean, they enjoy that. And then the other things about it, I mean, their experience, they're working around the cattle, they're riding a 4-wheeler all on the trails and stuff, just burning up the trails. And I think that's so good because they're able to learn how to drive and how to operate equipment at a young age.
Yes.
So that way when they do become driving on, or when they do start driving on the road, man, they've already had experiences. They know how to drift already. They know how to emergency brake before they run over a chicken.
Yes.
I mean, they're around that stuff.
Yes.
They're around the chickens, the ducks, the dogs. I think it's amazing that they've been able to grow up and be hands-on with so much of that stuff.
Right. There's so much freedom. That's the thing.
Yes, freedom.
It's freedom for us. There's been freedom.
Yes.
For the kids, there's been freedom.
Yeah.
There's been freedom in learning. Like I said, we've homeschooled. It's just part of the lifestyle for us.
Yep.
A lot of hands-on learning. We've really focused on teaching them different skills. They get their basics, but we've really focused on our oldest son. He, since the age of 8, he started out here on this bonfire, and he started forging his own knives, and now he's amazing at creating, and he welds. And so these are skills that have been lost, I think, in our society. But the kids, like animal husbandry, and also medicinal plants.
Yeah.
We grow a lot of medicinals. And so I can go out and make my tea every day, depending on how I feel. I've learned through just my own research what is good for a cold or the flu.
Right.
And that's something that we're passing on to the children.
Absolutely. And
It's been awesome. Just really equipping them for what's come for the future for them,
Yes.
each one.
Yeah, and it's a deal where the stuff is here to where when they're ready to learn, they ask questions of what is stinging nettle, and they touch it and they get stung and they're like, oh wow, but then they know then what that's good for also. When they get a bee sting, if they get stung by a wasp, they run around, they grab plantain, they chew it up, they put it on it. So there's we were blessed with a lot of things already here, but then we've gone the step further and planted a lot of things that we didn't have growing here, that we can end up using. And so many of those things are perennials. So many of those things are coming back year after year. And the kids know those now.
Right.
The kids actually understand not only if it's edible, they understand if it's good for a virus or a cold or things like that. So then they can eat more of the things that they need at those times.
Yes, and that's something too. We've created a foundation for their palate.
Yes.
So, they've been exposed to eating even just raw things, but they've been experienced, like with our beef, with the cattle that we raise, they've been eating good meat, and we can provide that for them because we've been here. And really, when we moved here, it was such a call to simplicity.
Yes.
So the way of life is so simple.
Yeah.
It is hard. It's hard working too, but that's life giving.
It is.
To work with your hands and to produce what you eat.
Right.
And it's just a way of life.
Well, when the big when the world when the quarantine came, when the world shut down, our lives really didn't change much.
Right.
I mean, our day-to-day operations really remained the same. I mean, we still did all the things that we normally do. It didn't change what we did a lot.
Right.
And that's pretty neat. And the fact that the kids now, because of growing up here, like their friends have come out and they've pulled carrots out of the ground and ate them. It's a deal where the kids growing up in an area like this, they understand where their food comes from, and they understand that if the soil's not healthy, the food is not healthy.
Right. And then, and as far as food, I mean, we have 6 kids.
Yeah.
And so it really has been beneficial to us. Like the one year I put up over 200 quarts of tomatoes, and then we have at least 1,200 plants of asparagus or something like that. So we've been able during the peak times to harvest around, at least 3 pounds of asparagus a day.
Yeah.
In the peak times, and so there's so many of us. I don't really, other than the tomatoes, put up that much because we eat it every day because we know it's so good for us.
Yeah. And I think one of the benefits is there are so many perennials.
Right.
So I mean, there's like tomatoes, peppers you need to plant every year, but there's such a tremendous amount of perennials, which are you mulch them in the fall, and that's pretty much it.
Right. But even with the potatoes, though, we do our potatoes so we don't have to do it every year.
Right.
The way that I don't know where wherever you saw that.
Right. We grab the potatoes as we need them and leave the rest of them in the ground. So every year they're coming back.
Yes.
They're coming back, and there's hundreds of pounds of potatoes.
Right. They're just in the ground all the time. They're stored.
Yeah, probably like 500 pounds of potatoes that are. There's more than that because they just keep multiplying.
Right. And this year too, we put in quite a few sweet potatoes.
Yes.
So there's a lot in the ground now, that
Yeah.
will be ready to harvest.
Yes, this fall.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
There's so many different medicinals, turmeric, ginger, that will be ready to harvest.
Yeah.
The fruit trees,
Yeah.
and we have at least two huge white potato beds.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to think of what else. Just I don't know. There's just kind of food all over, which is awesome. We haven't really put it in just one area.
Right. It's in
We
various
purposely
different areas.
put it throughout.
Yes. Yes. Even like in the woods, there's different areas that are actually growing a lot of
Right,
food.
right.